Move or improve. So your house isn't working anymore and you're at this crossroads. Do you move or do you improve? Let's explore both options so you can get an idea of how to make this work for you so you can find your dream home or create your dream home in today's marketplace. Hi, I'm Lou Sagatov. I'm a local builder and realtor. And if you have any questions about real estate or building in Northern Virginia or DC, please reach out. I'll be glad to answer all the questions that you have to the best of my ability. Also, please hit the like and subscribe button. Your home's just not working anymore for you. And it could be that, it's just gotten too small. Maybe your financial situation has changed or your lifestyle's changed. Whatever reason it is, you're at this crossroads trying to figure out how to make this process work. And you're looking at neighbors that may be doing renovations or building new houses. You're looking at Pinterest. You're looking all over the internet. You're talking, but you don't know or you don't have a good sense of what the steps are that can help you take or you can take to create that dream home. Hopefully this little guide will allow you to explore those options, whether to move or improve. Let's get started. But before we talk about improvements or moving, we've got to talk about the money factor. The money factor is really critical because how are you going to pay for this thing? What I suggest is call a local lender, mortgage lender. Call a couple of them. Get a clear understanding of what it takes for you to get into a loan, how much you qualify for, what's all the documents that you're going to need to prepare in order to go through a loan. And you're going to find a couple different things. One is if you're purchasing a house, you're going to get pre-qualified. But if you're also doing an improvement, these lenders have some fantastic programs out there that some of them are advertised and some of them aren't advertised or they're not advertised heavily. As an example, Construction of Perm is one vehicle that we use for renovations in improvements. Some of the program or some of the companies also have their own internal construction programs. That's why it really makes sense to talk with a local lender. The other side about talking with a local lender is this is a relationship that you're building, and there's nothing easier than when you can pick up the phone, you can talk to somebody, you can meet with them for coffee. They're going to be here. They're really going to be part of the community, and they're really wanting to make everything work for this because, local people are really involved with the whole process. And so that's why I recommend, dealing with a local person. I think we've identified that your house, for whatever reason, is not working anymore. At this stage, what I like to do is I like to start thinking about what is it that your dream house is going to look like for you. And I'm talking about a 10,000 foot approach to this right now. I'm talking about creating a dream rather than the granular stuff about, sticks and bricks, bedrooms, square footage, that thing. How is this house going to feel for you when you wake up in the morning, when you make breakfast, as you go through all the different cycles of the day, all the different cycles of the week and the months? How's this house going to feel for you and your family, and how's it going to work for you? Try to create this idea of what it is that you would like to create, because that's going to be the basis of everything that we're going to talk about from now on. One of the next steps is going to be to look at the sticks and bricks, as I like to call them. And I have a spreadsheet on this if you want. Just leave it in the comments below. I'll be glad to send it to you. But look at location, look at square footage, look at schools, look at what all the different parameters that go into this: kitchen, bedrooms, master bedroom, everything that you can think of. Let's look at what works for you, what doesn't work, and what your ideal is. And that's going to help formulate this whole process in getting clear on when we start looking at the actual design or the improvement side, and then looking at house. Now let's talk about what works with your house and what doesn't work with your house, and what you would like to have work in your house. I think it's important to be honest with ourselves and really kind of, whether you make a list or however you go about this, really try to get clear on what doesn't work. Because by knowing what doesn't work, as we're exploring all these different options, you're going to be able to identify, yes, that works, or it doesn't work. Conversely, I will say that if you're working with someone like me, I will be throwing things at you that may be coming out of left field, and you're going to go, what is he talking about? Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work. I had a client a couple of years ago. They were very conservative. I came in with a very, very modern concept as far as a renovation for them. And when they walked out the door, I said, I'll never see them again. A couple of weeks later, they called me up and said, hey, we really like what you want to do. And so I took this very conservative-minded, as far as construction conservative-minded couple that wanted like a New Orleans type style house. And I showed them the possibilities of living in something clean and simple and modern and open, and they embraced that idea. So it doesn't always happen like that. I mean, I may throw ideas at you and you're going to go, yeah, get that one out of the way. But the idea is, let's be open-minded about this process and let's really explore a lot of different options. Speaking of exploring a lot of different options, you're probably going to go out on Pinterest and all these different websites, and do keep track of these things and bookmark or tag them however you want to do it. I also encourage people to really step outside of what we are normally associated with. And if you're interested in, let's say, modern homes, I have a passion for modern homes, so I'm always talking about modern homes. Let's say you have a passion for modern homes. Type in modern homes of Japan. Type in modern homes of Finland, of Spain, of South America, of Arizona, of California, Florida. Type in these different search parameters and really look to see what's out there, because there is some, I don't know, I was about to say the wrong word. There are some amazing architecture out there and a lot of great ideas. And then one of the things to think about is you may look at something and say, God, I love that. I really love that. But you may not recreate that in anything that you do as far as the sticks and bricks. So let's look at, you're looking at a house in Finland, for instance, and it's got beautiful stained wood in it and wood floors, and it's simple and it's clean and it's minimalistic. And one of the things that I would say is that although we may not create, or you may not create that look, it's the emotion that's drawing you in. So think about what that emotion is and start registering in, this is what I want. This is how this is going to work for me. Because it's starting to give you an idea and it's starting to formulate that dream of where this process is going to take you and how you're going to create your dream home. All right, we're looking at improvements. Here's how I do it. Here's how I do it with my clients, and this will give you a sense of what works or what doesn't work. Anyway, normally I'll sit down with my clients, we'll sit down at the kitchen table, and I'll bring a number 2 pencil and a sketch pad. I'm kind of old school that way. And we'll start talking about your vision, what you want to create, what works in your house, what doesn't work, what you'd like to have, what somebody down the street is doing that you like or don't like. Anyway, I'm going to be really listening to what it is that you're after. We've already done a tour of your house, so I get a sense of what's going on with the house itself. I get a sense of kind of what the yard is like. Haven't dove into the zoning aspect of it yet, but at least we're just talking in a global sense right now. Typically, I'll start out with just some simple squares, circles, sketches, and we'll just talk about flows. How are things going to flow? If this happens, if that happens, how do you enter the house? How does that kitchen really relate to that whole living area? Whether kitchen, dining room, great room, how does light enter this? A big thing for me is going to be the relationship of the house and the outside and how these two meld together. Because that's an important thing. I don't normally just look at the house itself, but I look at your yard. I'll look at your neighbors. I'll look at trees. I'll look at kind of where the sun's coming, where it's setting. We'll start talking about kind of flows and that kind of thing. From there, we'll start sketching out some rooms and ideas. Okay, this should go here. This should go here. It'll be about this size. And then I go away. Well, I don't really go away. I go back and I start sketching out a couple different concepts with some quick estimates, because it's important to, as we're working on design, it's important to have a sense of, are we in budget or out of budget? And we'll talk about budget in a little bit. But we go through this process I'll start off with a set of kind of concepts, and through a process of elimination and synthesis, we'll end up with one plan. Once we end up with that one plan, then I'll go back and I'll fine tune that plan and really run some hard numbers for that process, for this whole project. And that's not the end of it, because inevitably the numbers are going to be up here, the design's here, and it's not going to work quite yet because we're out of budget, basically. So then it's a question of how do we do value engineering to value engineer this through a process of design and through a process of elimination of things that you had on your wish list that really isn't that important now. Once we get through that process, then at that stage, you can make a decision whether you want to move forward to construction or not. That's an important stage, because at this stage, you have a very clear idea of what it is that you want to create and how it looks. Before you dive in, one of the things that I would recommend is let's go out and let's go see what the move options are. Because, we may find something that works as well or better out there. Let's look at the move. When we look at the move process, I'm going to ask for you to create a list of criteria, what's important for you in finding a property. It might be a certain neighborhood. It might be a certain location. It might be a certain school district. Whatever it is, we're trying to zero in on an area to do our search. Here's what you're going to find in Northern Virginia in today's market. Very low inventory. And it's very competitive. And so kind of here's a couple of scenarios that we're going to run into. You may find a resale house that's going to meet all your criteria, and you're not going to have to do much of anything. 2 years ago, we were searching for a house with a client of mine. We lost 6 bids. I won't go through the process here. The last house that we looked at was perfect, except for it had Corian countertops and not granite. So, but that house, so this is how the builder side of me, that house was so advanced as far as building science is concerned. It had radiant floor heat throughout, super insulated. The builder and the owner, it was an owner builder, spent a lot of money creating a very green, energy efficient, with great indoor air quality home. Did he spend the money on the countertops? No, he spent money elsewhere. And when my client bought that house, what I told them was, we can always change the countertops. The house is going to be a joy to live in because of the way that he built this house. They did buy the house and they came back and said, we love it here. Everything it just works. It works. And about 2 years later, I came in and I changed out all their countertops to granite. And so now they have the perfect home. So the other option that we're going to find is we're going to find a house that it's going to need some work. It's going to be in the right location. It's going to have a lot of these elements that you want, but the house is going to need to be renovated. So at that point, then you may purchase the property and then do a renovation to bring it up to where you want this house to be. The other thing that we're going to find in this marketplace, if your budget allows, is new construction. There's a lot of great new construction here in Northern Virginia that's really starting to hit vibes, man. I mean, it's got good vibes in it, and it's exciting to see how builders are embracing this open, modern concept. The other part that's exciting to see is how advanced the building science is in these houses. Even though you're not going to be looking at that, I pay attention to, what kind of indoor air quality elements they have, what kind of insulation they have. I'm going to be looking at all these different elements, and the builders are really are really embracing that. And we're starting to get some really good construction here locally. And then the last option would be that you don't find anything out there. And you look at your existing house and we look at the whole renovation side of it or the improvement side of it, and you go, it's just not going to work. And so then the option is to go out and say, okay, I'm going to buy a property or I'm going to tear down my property and I'm going to create a new house. So those are the processes that goes through whether to move and improve. And the thing about it is that it's a long process. It doesn't happen overnight like that. It takes a little bit of time. It takes a lot of thought and work. But at the end, I think it's really the best way to approach it. So the other element in here is the team that you're going to be dealing with to go through all this process. And it may be a couple different ways. You may find a realtor and a builder. You may find a realtor, architect, and builder. You may find somebody that's all in one like myself. I'm a realtor and I'm a design builder. The thing to think about as you're choosing who you want to work with is that this is a long process. You want somebody that's going to be listening to you and deeply listening to you and what you want and really work with you to help with that vision. The other element I feel is it's good to have somebody that's going to come in and say, what about this? What about that? And it keeps this process really kind of fun and interesting. So if you have any questions about building, real estate in Northern Virginia, DC, feel free to call me up, get in touch with me however you want. I love to have conversations about this, whether you work with me or not. I just, I'll be glad to share with you the best that I can. Also, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps me with my YouTube algorithm. Who knows where that's going to go. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. And again, if you have any questions, contact me. And in the meanwhile, hope to talk to you soon and have a great day. Bye now.